Hi, this is the mid-year book Freakout tag. Everybody's doing this tag at the moment, and I'm wanting to be a part of it and to keep up tradition. I think this is the third time I've done this tag. I'm not too sure, but 15 questions, so I'll just get into the first one. Question number one. Best book you've read this year so far, and there's actually two candidates for that question. One, I don't have the physical copy because I've since returned it to the library, but that is The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. It's Bret Easton Ellis's latest work. It's a fictional autobiography about him in college, and sort of a very odd coming of age story set in California, and I was just really caught up in it. I was caught up in all the teen drama of the book. I think it's his best work so far, in my opinion. I think he a little bit holds back from this usual violence, but not the drug taking or the sex or the swearing. There's so much Valium in the book, but definitely to me it's most his homoerotic. The main character, I think I would say, is bisexual, but he's refrained from his sort of the stuff that you'll find in the other novels, especially American Psycho. But I think it's quite subdued, and it's all the better for that. The second novel, which I have a physical copy, is Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. Apparently I have acid for sweat because the mungo has been wiped off just by me holding it. That's what it's supposed to look like. So, not that I'll sell it, but I think that'll affect the resale value. As I say in a previous video, it's a signed copy. And this is again a sort of a coming of age novel set in Glasgow during the early 90s. And once again, a very sort of homoerotic novel. I mean, both The Shards and Young Mungo I would term modern classic. Even though they've just been released, they're definitely modern classic. I tried to read Shuggie Bain, but I don't know for what reason I just couldn't get into it. I didn't know what was going on. But Young Mungo, I really took to this. It's about, as I said, coming of age story of young Mungo. He's the sort of middle one, I think, of three siblings, a brother and a sister. And it's about it's about family loyalty. It's about Glasgow. It's about the 90s as well, so a snapshot of the 90s. I think things really have changed in Glasgow since this book. I mean, I've seen quite a few guys walking down the West End in Partick, hand in hand, both male and female. I think it's very much changed times since the 90s, although depending maybe on what bit of Glasgow. But it really is beautifully written. There's also very, very real, and it's a very, very real portrayal of the class structure and issue of Glasgow. His sister, Jodie, really wants to ascend really to the West End and Glasgow University. And there's this sort of social barriers, and there's the social barriers of being gay in 90s Glasgow. It's not a pleasant read. There's some really tough stuff, harrowing stuff, but very powerful, and definitely my best book of the year so far. Question number 2. Best sequel you've read so far, and the only sequel I have read is A Cure for Cancer by Michael Moorcock. This is the second in the Jerry Cornelius books, although apparently the Jerry Cornelius books can be read in any order, but I'm not entirely sure of that. I mean, maybe because they're so jumbled up and it's just an odd collection of stuff. I wouldn't say it's the best sequel if I'd read another sequel, but it's the only sequel I've read so far. A Cure for Cancer by Michael Moorcock. More about this in a later question. Question number 3. Most anticipated new releases you haven't read yet but want to. And this question is always sort of a blank for me, but I did turn to the Edinburgh Book Festival, and they've got a few sort of sci-fi releases. I've written them down if I can find them. Where is it? It's here somewhere. That's in the wrong bit. Okay, yeah, here. Thirsty Animals by Rachel Atala. Vehicle by Jen Kalea. And From Our Own Fire by William Letford. So those are 3 books, 3 new releases that I don't know if I'll get to them, and I don't know if I'll attend Edinburgh Book Festival, but there's 3 possibilities there. I don't know if the library would have those. Question number 4, if I can find it, because I've lost my place now. I think question 4 is along this sort of the same sort of lines. Most anticipated release for this year, and again, for that question, I don't really have an answer. Nothing really comes to mind. So question number 5, biggest disappointment. And so back to the first half of the Jerry Cornelius Chronicles by Michael Moorcock, the final program and A Cure for Cancer. I don't know what I was really expecting, but it's I don't know, it's just this character, Jerry Cornelius, how to describe him? He's otherworldly human. He's not entirely sure if he's a secret agent or not, but the final program, his first mission is to sort of fight against his family in this futuristic mansion that can defend itself. And I don't know if there's an incestuous relationship with his sister. It's very bizarre. I don't know how I would really class it. I don't know if it could be called science fiction. I suppose that's the closest to any genre that really comes to. And the character Jerry Cornelius can sort of, I think, travel through time at will, and he can change his gender, which is very interesting. I think it was written back in the 60s, so a modern sort of issue now, but I think also back then. And it's bits of it are just paragraphs and short stories from other stuff. It's almost on the verge of putting poetry in it, but not quite. It's just a sort of combination of stuff, really. So that was the biggest disappointment of the year so far. Question number 6, biggest surprise. And the biggest surprise is The Sword and the Chain. This is book 2 of the Guardians of the Flame series by Joel Rosenberg. The last one, I think, maybe it traumatized me a bit, but it is good fantasy, but it's probably the goriest fantasy I've ever read. Very adult, which I actually found out in the last story of the series, but I think it's well written, very good characters. Basically, in a nutshell, it's a adult version of Dungeons and Dragons, the TV show, not the I've not seen the movie, but it's an adult version of the Dungeons and Dragons TV show, where they've been transformed from the modern real life world into a game. But because it's a good thing. I don't know if I'll complete the whole Guardians of the Flame, because there's quite a lot of books. Maybe like 14 or something, but there's a lot of books. I don't know if I'll complete the whole series. Question number 7, favourite new author. I don't know if I really have one. I suppose since this is the first I've really completed this work, is Douglas Stewart, I think. There's also new to me is Jack D. Hunter. This is The Blue Max by Jack D. Hunter. I don't know if I would say favourite, but a good or average book. So those are my 1 or 2 choices. Question number 8, Fictional Crush. I don't know if I really have one. No, I'm not too sure. Question number 9, newest favourite character. I don't know. I actually quite like the character of Jerry Cornelius. He's a suave sort of guy. I don't know if I would say James Bond-esque, but he can also change race as well as gender. So a really interesting character. I think I'd probably say my favourite, or the one that comes to mind anyway. Question number 10. Book that made you cry. So for this I need to give a spoiler alert. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, spoiler alert over. At the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service by Ian Fleming, the line, let's see if I can find it. This is why I give you the spoiler alert. No, it's the last line from James Bond. There's no hurry, you see. Bond's hand sank down against hers, and he whispered into her ear, you see, we've got all the time in the world. And while I was reading that, the actual instrumental work of We Have All the Time in the World by John Barry, I'll leave a link to it down below. That was playing, and it brought a tear to my eye. It's quite a sad line, a sad ending. Although the ending doesn't really save the rest of the book. I thought it was the silliest James Bond book there's. And also, turning to manga, I think it's volume 12 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. It's a very sad story, a very sad ending, or possible ending for a character, a main sort of character in that series. Question number 11. Book that made you happy. And maybe it's an odd sort of choice, but Kiowa Trail by Louis L'Amour made me happy. It's just a classic Western, very well done. It's vintage Louis L'Amour. I loved it. It's not a happy or funny book, but it's classic Western. It's got romance, human drama, standoff, all that stuff. It made me smile. Question number 12. Favourite book to film adaptation you saw this year? And I haven't really seen many movies this year, but just a few days ago I went to see The Flash, and I really enjoyed that movie. It's my favourite movie of the year so far, although I think I've only seen that and Black Adam. I think that's been the only two movies I've seen this year. It is what it is. But I suppose that Flash is probably quite a few graphic novels that have that same origin story, so it's sort of based off a work. I don't know if Oppenheimer is based off any biography, and I don't know if I'll see that movie. I might not. But The Flash, I really enjoyed it. Question number 13. Most beautiful book you bought this year? And very early on, back in January, I had some book tokens and I was in a Tops, which is a very sort of fancy bookshop in St Andrews. So fantastic books, beautiful shelves, and I bought the Citadel of Forgotten Myths by Michael Moorcock. Is a beautiful hardback. I really love. It's a very sort of classic looking fantasy cover there. It's a beautiful hardback. Maybe a bit plain, sort of, on the back, definitely, but that is my most beautiful book. I've only just started it. I've not not even close to finishing it. I don't know if Strange Elvic for me sort of over. It ended with Stormbringer and that's that, but there are other books in the series. I just don't know if I can be bothered with them. Question number I've got that in the wrong order, but 14, 13 favourite review you've written this year, and that was for The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. I wrote a review on Goodreads and actually said that if you remove the violence, the swearing, the drugs and the sex, you'd basically have a point horror, which I think is, I stand by that comment. I think it's quite true. I'm not denigrating point horror or Bret Easton Ellis, but I thought there was a similarity between the two. High school drama, and there's a serial killer called the Trawler. Nobody knows the identity, and it's sort of point horror to it. And also I said that it's a masterpiece of unreliable narrator, and I really think I nailed the nail on the head with that comment. So I think that's me. The last question number 15. Books you need to read by the end of the year, and there's, as always, there's so many. I've got still to read, or still to finish, the first work by Philip E. High. It's Prodigal Son. Work of sort of political, sort of science fiction. And I'll just show you the piles of science fiction I have. Unlikely that I'll finish any of them, but there's a pile over there. I don't think I've read any of those. And there is a pile of old science fiction there. So I've still got the rest of the year. I'll hopefully, if I at least get one or two, I'll be happy, but I would like to get quite a lot of that pile read, and I don't imagine it would take that long to read some of them. Some of them are quite thin. So hopefully I'll get that done. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't know. I just need to get down to it. Thanks for watching. Bye.